is about James. And so Hannah's going to have to answer the question first about James, and James is going to answer it for him about himself. So the person that can earn points right now is Hannah only. Okay, so if Hannah's answer is equivalent to James's, then she gets a point. If she gets it wrong, 0 points. Okay?
Can James hear us? Oh, there he is.
Oh, there he is.
No, this is recorded. She said it's recorded.
It's not live. I'll answer first.
Hi, James.
Hello, everyone. So I'm going to try to answer
Oops, let me just get the volume as loud as it goes.
a few questions about Hannah and myself, and we will see how I do. The first question is, what is my funniest memory of Hannah? And
Is he going to be bigger?
Wait, does he have to ask now? Yeah, shut him off.
Wait, an error occurred.
Wait, yeah,
Oh,
the answer
no.
first.
So what's your
Better
funniest
work.
memory? Or what's his
Oh yeah, you have
What's
to
he gonna
answer.
say?
it.
She has to answer first.
Okay, answer it. I hope.
What is James's funniest memory of
About
me?
you.
Right, yeah.
What would you say?
What would
Yeah.
you say?
What is James' funniest? Well, he laughs all the time. That's not fair. Funniest memory.
Of you.
Of something you did that he
Yeah.
thinks is the funniest thing you did.
Oh gosh, I would say funniest or funnest.
Funniest.
I think he said funniest,
right?
yeah, no funnest.
Okay, well, so one time when we were just starting to date, I went to James's apartment and he really likes to cook. And he told me to cook the cut the hot peppers up. And he says, don't rub your eyes after you cut these. Naturally, right? So I was like, okay, so I cut them up, and after I finish cutting them, I need to use the restroom. So I go to the restroom. And in the privacy of his restroom, this is really embarrassing, I just have to rub my nose, maybe pick my nose. And my nose just starts burning, like on fire. And I'm in this, like, we are like early dating stages. I'm like in the bathroom, kind of like freaking out. And I'm like rubbing water, and he's like, "Are you okay?" Like, from the other room in the in the kitchen, he was asking if I was okay. I was like, "Yes, I'm fine." I come out, and I was like, "Do I tell him that I was in the privacy of the bathroom picking my nose?" So I did. I don't really actually know what he thought. I was laughing. He definitely laughed with me, but I think he was trying to be like, "It's okay, it's okay." But that was definitely
What did you do?
embarrassing. I had to wash my hands, scrub, sneeze. So don't rub your eyes or nose.
All right. So let's see how he does.
hello, everyone. So I'm going to try to answer a few questions about Hannah and myself, and we will see how I do. The first question is, what is my funniest memory of Hannah? And to narrow it down to one funny memory, the most funny one I can think of has to do with when Hannah came to visit me out in North Dakota, and we went water skiing together with some friends. And I don't know why it was so funny to me, but when Hannah went skiing, she was doing really, really well, and she decided at some point to drop a ski and just go slalom. And from what I remember, it might have been the first or second try, but she didn't have the most graceful fall. And so when she fell, it was a series of arms flailing through the air and her trying to run on the water. And it was quite funny to me. And it made it even more funny that I had it on video so I could watch it again and again. So I quite enjoyed that. I think it was probably because I was a little jealous of how good she was at skiing. So when she finally went down, it was quite enjoyable.
All right. 0 points to Hannah. Okay.
You blew it.
What is James's favorite attribute of you?
I'm not gonna do it. Get this. Physical attribute? Oh.
You have to choose.
That's all I have. He likes my eyes. But I don't know if that's a favorite. I would say Heart of Prayer.
All right, eyes or heart of prayer? We'll take them both.
Okay, thanks.
The second question is, what is my favorite attribute of Hannah? I would say physical attribute. I'll give one of those first. My first favorite physical attribute would be her beautiful long hair. My main answer is just the humility and the dependence on Jesus that she exhibits throughout her life, but mostly just in her life of prayer and how much time and how
I'm cutting the hair off.
really demonstrates her
I guess
both
you better
her
not
humility
do that.
and dependence alone on Jesus. So I'm really
Yeah, don't cut your
fond of those things.
Okay. All right.
So do I give her?
Yeah, 1 point for Hannah. You barely said the word prayer. You got it. Okay. How many kids does James want?
Not a fair question. How many kids does James want? As many as God gives us. Can that be the
That's
answer?
a good answer.
I think that's the answer.
How about how many kids do I want? I would say my answer would be as many as God allows, as many as I can take care of. I really love children, and especially just really care for and want to care for orphans and those just in need, as I see there's so many. So as many as God can provide me with the resources to take care of, I would love to have. So what that number is, we'll have yet to see, I guess. And it made it even more funny.
19 kids and counting.
That I had it on video so I could watch it again. I think the tribute would be her beautiful love. I think really demonstrates both her humility to children and especially just really care for and want to care for orphans and those just in need, as I see there's so many. So as many as God can provide me with the resources to take care of, I would love to have. So what that number?
Okay. All right. The next question is, what is James's favorite food?
Guacamole.
Is, well, have yet to see, I guess. What is my favorite food? My favorite food would have to be popcorn.
I knew that.
I always love.
No, he eats too much popcorn.
What did I want to be?
Okay. Whoops. Okay. So the next one's, what did James want to be when he grew up? When he was a kid.
James always wanted to help people since he was a little boy. He wanted to be a missionary from a young age. He has a lot of aunts and extended family who are missionaries in Afghanistan, India, England, and so he really admires them. And so I'm gonna say missionary.
All right.
But
As a child, what did I want to be when I grew up? I would say my earliest wish would have been to be a missionary. When I was a really small child, I had relatives around me who were missionaries, and also just other people that I looked up to who really exhibited in their life that sharing the gospel with others was very important. And as I started to understand that, I just saw it as a very prestigious career to be able to share with people about Jesus and bring them out of the dark and into the light, or to release them just from punishment. So as a small child, I always wanted to be a missionary.
All right. What is James's favorite Bible verse?
Hebrews 13, verse 3 or 4. Do not love money, but be content with what you have, for God has said, never will he leave you or forsake you. So we can say with confidence, for God has said, never will he leave you or forsake you. Remember your leaders who went before you. Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. That's my guess.
My favorite Bible verse. I would say my all-time favorite is Ephesians 2, 8 and 9. And then a more recent favorite would be from Hebrews 13.
There you go.
So all-time favorite just has to do specifically with the gospel, and I think it summarizes it very well. So Ephesians 2, 8 and 9, if you don't know that one. For it is by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not from yourselves, it is a gift of God, not by works, so that no one can boast. And so I think that really just clearly lays out the gospel and reminds me just of how it's by grace, and that's a great comfort to me. And then my more recent favorite would be from Hebrews 13, and I just love the promises of God. So Hebrews 13, 5 and onward says, "Keep your lives free from the love of money, and be content with what you have, because God has said, 'Never will I leave you, never will I forsake you.' So we say with confidence, 'The Lord is my helper, I will not be afraid. What can man do to me?' Jesus Christ is the same yesterday and today and forever." So those are my two favorites. And I really like the Hebrews one, just being reminded where my hope is. And it's not just in myself and my abilities, but it's in Jesus Christ and his abilities. And he's God and he's never changing. So that's been a great encouragement to me.
All right.
What made me realize...
Okay, this is Hannah's last. So 1 point for Hannah. This is your last chance to earn points.
Oh, I
Otherwise,
should've got
James is
popcorn.
going to be earning them.
I got that one.
Okay, what made James realize he wanted to marry you?
My stunning looks. No. What made James? When I told him, I know exactly when. No. When he saw that I was willing to follow him wherever God wants him to go as a missionary, and when I told him I'm willing to support his vision for missions and orphanages and stuff in August.
That I wanted to marry Hannah. I think it's a series of things for sure over time. The first things that made me realize it would be just foundationally the fact that she's a beautiful woman. Also, just seeing her heart, just her heart of compassion for unreached people, people that don't have the opportunity to hear the gospel, but mostly just her reckless trust in God and willingness to serve him and to serve other people, even if it means cost to herself. So seeing her being willing to give up things in her own life, comforts in her own life, for the good of other people and to serve God. Those really attracted to me. And I'd say the final thing that just really made me sure I wanted to marry her was just seeing the respect that she had for just the calling God's given me to go wherever it would be in the world to serve the most needy people. So I feel that I want to serve the most physically needy and spiritually needy, and those are some difficult places to go in the world. And so hearing that Hannah had respect for how God's calling me and was willing to follow me in that pursuit was definitely very helpful. So those are a few things. It's hard to give just one.
All right. I think Yay.
5 out
Okay.
of 7. Should have got popcorn.
All right. Now, what is Okay. What is your funniest memory of James?
Okay, so I'll do the same questions. Oh, okay. What is my funniest memory of James? I still think the picking the nose was funny, but I'm going to do a different one because I don't think it was so funny for him. He really funny. Sorry, I'm trying to choose one. What is my funniest memory of James? Sorry. Well, I don't think he's gonna say this, but I'm gonna share anyways. He has really cheesy sense of humor, and so he'll say like just cheesy lines all the time, and I really don't laugh. But I think it's kind of funny that I don't laugh at them. This is really bad, but it's kind of really funny to watch him like say these random quirky things, and like look at me trying to get me to laugh, and I'll just like gaze at him. So then he'll kind of try to like make it funny again until I laugh. But I don't think he's gonna say that one. That's what I have.
How about questions about Hannah? What do I think? What is Hannah's funniest memory of me? I think the most recent one that I can think of that is quite funny now is when we were playing soccer a few weeks ago, and I'm still kind of getting used to wearing cleats. I'm new at this whole soccer thing, so Hannah definitely is far superior to me. And I was running after a ball that had gone past the net, and I had to run off the field and onto pavement. And so as I was running across the pavement, I tried to stop to grab the ball. But with cleats, you can't stop very well on pavement, so I actually slid and fell down and landed right in a huge puddle. It wouldn't have been too bad, except that it was right around freezing that day. So I was soaking wet. So at the time, I didn't think it was very funny, but I'm fairly confident Hannah thought it was pretty funny, and now I do as well. What is?
I'll have to comment on that really fast. James never played soccer at all growing up, but since he knows it's such like a fun joy of mine, like he's been willing to start to play with me. So just watching him play soccer is actually quite funny at his expense. But so we play Sunday mornings. We go to church in the evening, don't worry. No. We play Sunday mornings with a bunch of South American men. And so I'm like the only lady, but I do okay. I can keep up with that. But poor James, he played hockey growing up, and so he plays soccer like a hockey player. He runs into these guys all the time, hits them over, kicks them where it counts. But he doesn't mean to. He's just a hockey player in soccer cleats running around. But he like asked me to come early so we can practice our passing, and he's actually a good defender, and he likes defending me. But he shows his humility and his willingness just to do things that I enjoy.
That's no points for you.
I know, embarrassing.
Okay, what is your favorite attribute of James?
Oh, James got a point. That's right.
What is my favorite attribute of James? A lot. The first thing that really, attracted me to him, drew me to him, would be his humility, which I think as a man in our culture, it's very, projected for them to be strong and like flaunt about all their strengths, but he's just very down to earth and like willing to admit when he doesn't know something or when he can't do something, which for me allows me to trust him more because I know like that he's not, he's being honest and truthful about just who he is as a man. And I think that really challenges me because I'm on the other spectrum where I want to present myself as having it all together all the time. And so he really, really challenges that in me. And so I think that's one of the things. And I really like his laugh.
Hannah's favorite attribute of me? That's a really hard question to answer. But my guess would be her favorite attribute of me is my compassion that God has given me for other people, and especially just very needy people. I think that's a strength that He's given me, that I really notice the weaknesses of other people or the needs, I guess, and how, or I just want to help them go out of my way to help them. So that compassion, I think, is something she enjoys about me. How many kids did...
Hannah likes my humility. I want to win this game.
Okay. How many kids do you want?
I would say the same as what James said.
Does Hannah want to have? I would say her first answer would be 3 kids, because she grew up in a family of 3, and she thinks that's a great number. But I think she's also growing to the idea of having more kids. So I think it's still developing even in her own mind. That's my guess. What is Hannah?
Is he right? Is he close enough, Hannah?
Yeah, I think it's good.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
That's
All right.
probably what I've shared with him.
What is your favorite food?
What is my favorite food? What would James say my favorite food is? Should be the question.
Just have to answer what it
I
is.
mean, I would say I really like guacamole.
Hannah's favorite food? I think there's quite a few. I'd narrow it down to guacamole, Rice Krispies, and pumpkin bread. But I think her all-time favorite definitely has to be guacamole.
Good boy.
What did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a professional soccer player.
What did Hannah want to be when she grew up? I think as long as it goes back, she's always wanted to be a professional soccer player, an Olympic soccer player. That would be my best guess. Don't think it's much of a guess.
Good job, James. Okay. What is your favorite Bible verse?
Depends on the hour. I don't think James knows this. I don't know. I really like right now Isaiah 9, chapter 2. Those people walking in darkness have seen a great light. Those living in the valley of the shadow of death, the light has dawned. But I don't think he's going to know that. So I'm going to go with Psalm 139:13. I praise your Lord because I am wonderfully and fearfully made.
What is Hannah's favorite Bible verse? I would say one that I hear her mention a lot. I don't know if it's her favorite, but one that I think is one of her most favorite would be in Titus, Titus 1:2. And it just makes the claim in this verse. It says that God does not lie. And I hear Hannah mention that a lot and bring that up a lot. And I think that's just a great foundation to have, being reminded that we can trust God. And so I hear her bring that out a lot in conversations that we have and with other people. Whether it's specifically mentioning that verse or otherwise, I think that's a favorite of hers, Titus 1:2. And what made...
Have to add it to the list.
Okay. What made you realize that you wanted to marry James?
Oh.
Last chance for James to earn points.
For me, whenever I make a big decision, I have to have a Bible verse. And so, knew in the summer, I knew in June, I was like, yeah, like I really think I'm going to marry this man, but like I really needed some sort of scripture to hold on to. And that didn't come till August. And so I got a Bible verse from the Lord that I don't really feel like sharing.
did Hannah realize that she wanted to marry me? I think Hannah realized that she wanted to marry me probably when we first met on Skype. I know I made a really great impression. I think she was pretty convinced that she wanted to marry me.
No.
That's what I remember at least.
Story.
First time you met.
That was quick, James. Oh, Judy, Christian Mingle. So when I graduated from college, I moved to New York to do an internship, which James moved to New York to do the same internship. And so the summer before we moved there, we had a massive Skype call-in with all of the missionary interns who were moving to New York. And so it was James, myself, and several other married couples. And I remember as a single lady, I'm like, oh, there's going to be a young Christian missionary on the Skype call. So I got kind of excited. Truth be known, I came from coaching soccer, and so I changed my top. Maybe not for the young single guy, because it was a professional Skype meeting. But James came onto the Skype, thick North Dakotan accent. He can grow a massive beard. And he said he was a bus driver. And so from looking, and he has very light blonde hair. So I thought the blonde hair was gray, and he was an old bus driver that had taken college classes. So I had written him off my list right away. And when we moved to New York, James and I didn't talk until very long, and not long, but a month or two into the internship, when a married couple was having just the interns over just to meet everyone, and they happened to invite James and I over the same night, and so it was just me and James and this married couple, and they joked oh, we're not trying to set you up or anything, you guys are just the last on the list and you were single. So we joked that was our first unofficial date together. But
And then you found out he wasn't a bearded.
no, he had shaved his beard. But then actually when we started dating, it was winter, and so he had grown his beard back, and
No beard.
no beard. He actually shaved it today and sent me a picture and said, "Do you like it?" I said, "Good." Keep it that way.
All right, well, we're going to take a brief break. You can